Welcome to the Bucky Brooks Show. I am Bucky Brooks. And guys, I got to tell you, man, I had a lot of fun ranking the tiers with the AFC South, being able to go through all the position groups, rank the players, rank the squads, kind of give a preview to which team I think is going to emerge as the dominant team in the AFC South. Today, I want to take a look at the NFC East. And if you are a football fan, a longtime football fan like I have been, the NFC East has always been the division that you looked at. And when you think about the blue bloods that are in this division, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Eagles, and the Commanders, you got to love the competition and the rivalries that exist. And even going into it, like there's a lot of intrigue about which teams would be the favorite. You look at FanDuel Sportsbook and you just check out the odds that are played. Like everyone expects the Eagles to go right back. They've been kind of like the talk of the town, the talk of the division the last couple of years. You see it right there, plus 135 to win it. But the Dallas Cowboys, we always talk about the Cowboys, and it's been a long time coming for the Cowboys, but they're sitting at plus 195. The Commanders at plus 470, and then the New York Giants, John Harbaugh's New York Giants, are sitting at plus 550. Look, I know these odds are all over the place, but to me, this might be the most fascinating division in football to watch. So what we're going to do is we're going to break it down. We're going to look at the best players at certain positions, the best units, and then we'll just end it by talking about the best coaches. And maybe I'll give you my winner of the division as it stands. But let's look at the quarterbacks, because it all starts and ends at the quarterback position. And when I look at the guys that are available, Dak Prescott, to me, is the best quarterback in this division. And I know he is a lightning rod for criticism. People will talk about him being a dominant regular season player, but somehow he hasn't been able to translate that to postseason success. And you're right. But he's the most decorated player that I'll say in this division. Four-time Pro Bowler, won Offensive Rookie of the Year. You think about his record, 83, 55, and 1. 4,000-yard seasons. He has been able to do it really the last 3 years. 2 of those years, he's been sensational. He led the league in completions in 23 and 25. He led it in touchdowns in 23 when he had 36. So he has been able to put together phenomenal run, leading a team that everyone kind of has puts a target on their back, not necessarily because they're always the top team, but because they're America's team and we talk about them so much. And so I'm saying when you look at Dak Prescott's record, you look at the way that he is really lorded over the division, he has to be QB1 in the NFC East, because I just can't think of anyone who does it better than him. Second, and a bit of a surprise, I'm going to go with the Commanders quarterback, Jaden Daniels. And he's coming off an injury-plagued sophomore season. And that certainly has kind of dropped him down the charts on some lists. But I want you to go back his rookie season when he was Offensive Rookie of the Year. He was sensational. He is the most electric dual-threat quarterback that we've seen. That rookie year, he had over 3,500 pass yards. He had almost 1,000 rush yards. He put the ball in the paint a ton. He's going to continue to do that as he bounced back. And I love, with a new offensive coordinator, David Bell, taking over, this is going to give him a chance to remind us that he is an electric playmaker that can make it happen with his arms or with his leg. I expect him to continue to put the ball in the paint, and the bounce back is going to be real. That's why Jaden Daniels is QB2 on the list. Now, I talked about Dak Prescott being polarizing. Look, I said he's most polarizing. I should have reserved judgment until I talked about Jalen Hurts. It is amazing that Jalen Hurts can have the resume that he has, and there's so many people that are talking about him being on the hot seat this season. He not only has led the Philadelphia Eagles to 2 Super Bowls, one with a win, 1 Super Bowl MVP, outplayed Pat Mahomes twice on that big stage. He's won a ton. 57 career wins, only 25 losses. He's a rugged dual threat quarterback. He's the ultimate winner, but people are still on him. And some of the stench that is on him is because last season was so up and down. And even though you look at the numbers, look, man, the dude had 25 touchdowns, only 6 interceptions. Passer rating was 98.5. But, man, we are talking about him like he was coming off a very abysmal year. And I understand some of that had to do with A.J. Brown and A.J. Brown voicing those criticisms. But I'm going to say this about Jalen Hurts. He's everything that you really want in a quarterback from a leadership standpoint. He is about the team. He never puts himself in front of the team. He finds a way to win. He takes all the criticism, deflects all the praise. He's kind of the guy that you want. But being realistic, he has to play even better without, look, I would say a perennial number one receiver in A.J. Brown being on the perimeter. He is going to have to not only elevate his game, he's going to have to elevate the games around him to get the boo birds off his back. More importantly, to get the football world off his back as they're questioning whether he can be an elite quarterback despite his impressive resume. Now let's go to Jaxson Dart. Jaxson Dart is fourth, but I think Jaxson Dart probably has the most potential to make a big move. When I think about Jaxson Dart's rookie season, you saw him show up and show out for the Giants. 15 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. But what was really impressive is what he was able to do off the script. He had over 400 rushing yards. He found a way to really do it in his predecessor, Brian Daboll, his old head coach's system. Well, now he gets a new head coach, John Harbaugh. He gets a new coordinator in Matt Nagy. Matt Nagy worked well with Mitchell Trubisky early. We'll see if he can put together an offense that allows him to shine. The only thing that gives me a reason to pause when I think about Jaxson Dart, I don't know if the weapons around him are going to elevate him the way that he needs to be elevated to be the player that we think that he can be. We'll talk about their wideouts. We'll talk about their running back. He is going to have to be a bit of a one-man show. We'll see if the second-year pro is ready to do that. Now, let's go to the running backs. And this is, in this division, the running back position is still a marquee position. It's still a division that the run game typically determines which team leads the way. And I'm going to go with Saquon Barkley, number one. I think this is an easy choice. Obviously, you have a 2,000-yard rushing season a couple years ago. You lead a team to a Super Bowl. You think about all the wonderful accolades that he has as a 3-time Pro Bowler, Offensive Rookie of the Year, Offensive Player of the Year in 2024. He has 8,300 rush yards, and he's put the ball in the paint 94 times as a runner and a receiver. Even though he had a disappointing year last season, I think the bounce back is real as they begin to bake out this new offense with Sean Mannion as the coordinator. It's going to be a mix of run and pass. I know that 26 is going to be the featured playmaker on the menu. That means that we could see him get back to putting up the numbers that we saw when he led that spectacular Super Bowl run. Javonte Williams for the Dallas Cowboys comes in at second, coming off a 1,200-yard year. We saw him have 11 touchdowns, and we saw it really as a bounce back after 4 up-and-down seasons with the Denver Broncos. He really settled in with the Cowboys. You saw the physicality and toughness when he ran in between the tackles. You saw he still had the speed and the burst to take it the distance when he got on the edges. And the thing that I like about him, his game really complements Dak Prescott in the running game. That rugged running game complements really a splashy passing game, and it really puts defensive coordinators in a bind. Javonte Williams is a dude, and I think we saw that last year. It gets even better this year as he's more comfortable his second year in the system. Now, the conversation and the debate over RB3 is one that we can have an extended conversation on. I'm going to put Cam Skattebo here, and the reason why, I just think his style is one that lasts for the New York Giants. And it's not a style that we talk about like makes him one that is risk adverse, or it probably makes him probably more susceptible to injuries just because he's kind of like a car crash test dummy because he runs inside. He is so reckless with his body. But when I think about what John Harbaugh wants to establish is they want to be bullies on the block. And the best way to be the bully on the block is not only to have a big physical offensive line, but to have someone that can run with a rugged style between the tackles. But that's Skattebo. But Skattebo is more than just a runner inside. He can catch the ball out the backfield. He is terrific when he is able to really get in space and make things happen. I like the combination of Jaxson Dart and Cam Skattebo. I gave Skattebo the nod over Jacory Krosky-Merritt just because of what I think he's going to be featured as and what John Harbaugh did with Derrick Henry and other running backs. I think the same thing is going to be true in New York. Now, for the Commanders, look, Jacory Krosky-Merritt, you can make the case, should be ranked higher. He had 800 yards. He had 8 touchdowns. He did it in 7 starts. He showed flashes of being a guy that can be an elite running back in time. I saw him, like, he didn't even really play his last year in college, but he stepped on the scene and he showed he had the burst, he had the physicality, he had the wiggle. He has all those things that you look for in a top running back. To me, I just want to see a little more, and I'm worried about what is in front of him. Are they going to be able to give him the space that he needs to operate? We'll see. But don't be surprised if he shoots up the chart. I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up being running back 2 at the end of this season. But right now, I got him slotted at number 4. And I know the Commanders fans don't like this. I know they're gonna give me they can give me the business, but I'm okay. I'll take the smoke. Now, this is one, the wide receiver position. This is one that is really, really fascinating because the wide receivers that we have available, like you have some of the best wide receivers in football on this list. And the thing that stands out to me is 1 and 2 right now go to the Dallas Cowboys. In whatever order you want to do, CD Lamb and George Pickens, the first 2 guys off the list, they come from the Dallas Cowboys. And I thought it was just like, look, coach speak last year when they talked about, hey, man, we don't have a true number 1. We got 1A and 1B. And then it played out like that. George Pickens being a big play threat who crushes it on the outside. In fact, he reminded me of Michael Irvin running those slants over and over on the perimeter. And then you have a terrific catch and run playmaker in CD Lamb, who has been the number 1, who's used to carrying the weight of being the number 1 option in the passing game. When now you have interchangeable number 1s on the perimeter, it is rare that you find 2 guys that legitimately are number 1 options and they do it at a high level, regardless of the coverage. To me, this is one. I'm going to put CD Lamb first, George Pickens seconds, but we could flip them and you wouldn't get any argument from me. I just know this. The Dallas Cowboys have the 2 best receivers in the division, and everybody else is chasing. Next, let's go to Devonta Smith. We'll put Devonta Smith up there, and uh, yeah, we'll go with Devonta Smith. We'll put Devonta Smith up there because, look, he played his role really, really well, even though he was kind of in the shadows of A.J. Brown. When I think about Devonta Smith, he's going to have a chance to be the true number 1 receiver in this offense. And he's going to have to carry a ton of weight because when I look at the other guys around him, Dontavian Wicks, Mekhi Lemon, not quite ready to handle it. So look for him to see his numbers explode. We're used to seeing him right at 1,000 yards. He has to be at 1,300 or more to be the playmaker that they need him to be. So look for him to be the guy that's the 3rd best receiver in the division. Now let's go to Scary Terry McLaurin coming from the Commanders. And here's the thing about Scary Terry. When he's healthy and when this offense is right, he normally puts up big numbers. But as he's getting older, can he continue to do what those other dudes in front of him can do? I expect him to bounce back. I think there was, just a disjointed feeling for this offense last year. I think they get back on track. I think he gets back to the numbers that he normally produces. We're talking about 11 to 1,200 yards, 5 to 7 touchdowns. That is pretty much standard fare for him. I expect him to be a big playmaker for them as they go forward. And it's going to be important because if Jaden Daniels is going to play well, he's going to play well because Scary Terry has a big role in this. Now, let's go 5th. Let's go Malik Neighbors. Malik Neighbors is hurt. He's coming off an injury, and we don't even know if he's going to be available at the beginning of the season. But what we do know is when he's there, he's an alpha dog who's going to make a ton of plays on the perimeter. When we watched him his rookie season, we saw some of the stuff that he can do when he has time, space, and opportunity. He is an outstanding route runner. He's a competitive sucker when it comes to being able to win those 50-50 balls on the perimeter. But more importantly, he is the guy that you have to game plan against when you're a defensive coordinator. May take him a while to find his stride coming off that knee. May not even be available at the beginning of the year. But to me, he's the best of the rest. He is a guy that certainly deserves to be in that conversation as one of the top 5 receivers in the division. After him, let's go with Mekhi Lemon for the Philadelphia Eagles. And this is tough because, look, he's a rookie. We haven't seen him. I just think the role that he's going to play, either in the slot on the outside, is going to be a big, big part of what the Eagles do offensively. I think about Sean Mannion coming over and what he witnessed in Green Bay. Well, really, it was a by committee situation in terms of guys taking turns being the lead horse. I think Lemon is going to have an opportunity in some of these games. He's going to be the lead receiver because he wins his one-on-one matchup inside, because he's so slippery and elusive when he has the ball in his hands, and because he's a spectacular route runner. Look for the Eagles to find various ways to get him the ball. And if they get him the ball, you can see the magic happen. I expect him to have a big year as a rookie sensation. After that, let's go with Treylon Burks. Oh, no, we weren't going to go Burks. We can go with Antonio Williams because Williams we have up there, the rookie from Clemson, who when I talked to a wide receiver coach at the Combine, he said, hey, man, keep a guy on the Antonio Williams kid from Clemson. One of the reasons he liked him so much is because he was really impressive with the ball in his hands. former punt returner, a guy that can do a little bit of anything and everything when it comes to working in the slot, option routes, bubble screens, fly sweeps, the gadget plays. He's a big part of what the Commanders want to do going forward. Look for him to have plenty of opportunities as a rookie. And then last, we're going to talk about Slayton. Slayton being the guy that kind of pulls up the rear for the wide receivers. There have been huge concerns about the Giants and their receivers. We saw them sign Odell Beckham Jr. and Juju Smith-Schuster, and even Braxton Berrios to try and figure out what they're going to do with the depth. We have Slayton there, but there may be a number 2 that emerges from those other guys. But right now, we're going to have Slayton. We have him last when it comes to the number 1s and number 2s. But we'll see if the Giants can outplay those expectations. Now, let's talk about the offensive line. If you know ball, if you know this division, the game is won or lost in the trenches. And for the longest time, it had been the Philadelphia Eagles that had kind of carried the mantle as the best offensive line in ball. No more. Dallas Cowboys are at the top of the chain, the food chain when it comes to this. Big, physical, nasty. Man, they have a bunch of players that can certainly get it done, whether it's Tyler Booker, Tyler Guyton. You think about Terrence Steele being able to come up. They have some really good players, and they're going to continue to be dominant at the line of scrimmage. When the Cowboys have been at their best, it's because they've had the best offensive line in ball. I think they have a chance to have the best offensive line in ball because they can move the furniture. They can create the physicality and toughness that you want, but they also are going to provide the right protection for Dak Prescott. We talk about this Cowboys team being maybe the best offensive-minded team in ball. If they're going to really live up to those expectations, is because their offensive line has dominated. I think they do dominate, so that's why I have them number 1. At 2, let's go to Philadelphia Eagles. Look, I'm going to say this. One of the big moves that hasn't been talked about enough is they lost their offensive line coach, Jeff Stoutland. He's no longer the guy that is leading the group. And even though the talent is there, I mean, we just talk about like Lane Johnson and Maaga, but they have to figure out a way to be able to get Jordan Mailata off and running without a new offensive line coach. And so how is that going to work? How are they going to handle the adjustments in the run game? How are they going to do all this with a new play caller? Some of the stability that they had with their previous O-line coach, I worry about, because when you don't have him, you lose a little bit of what made the Eagles great. They have great personnel, but now can they put it all together? I'm a little leery. That's why I have the Cowboys ranked ahead of them. Coming in right after that, and this is really, it's really tricky because I want to go back and forth, and I look at the talent that the Washington Commanders have. I have Laramie Tunsil on one side. I have Connolly on the other side. I have a lot of talent on the edges when it comes to the Commanders. I need them to go. So we can put the Commanders right there in their 3rd spot. And the reason why they're in the 3rd spot is just the sheer talent. Laramie Tunsil, look, he's older. He's not what he was, but he's still really, really good. And then the first-round player that he got last year, man, he's shown traits of being really effective. I just think when you have bookends, it allows you to do what you want to do. And they have to keep the young quarterback protected. But if they keep him protected, man, we've seen the fireworks. And even though they don't have marquee names all on the perimeter, if the offensive line does the job with the quarterback that they have, who I Bleav is special, this offense is going to find a way to put the ball in the paint. I'm going with the Commanders there. And then the New York Giants, they're on the right path. They're on the right track. I like what they've done with their big offensive line. They have invested in the offensive line, which is important. They're growing as a group. More importantly, you have a coach in John Harbaugh who wants to play bully ball at the point of attack. And when I think about the New York Giants and how they've won in the past, it's because they did control the line of scrimmage, not only on offense, but on defense. This offensive line has the makings of being one that can be a good one for a long time. I'm just saying they're not ready yet, but they're coming. I like what the Giants are doing at the point of attack. Now, let's flip over to the other side of the ball. We're going to talk about the defense. And in this division, we have talked about the wizardry of Vic Fangio. But I'm saying right now, he doesn't have the best defense. The New York Giants have the best defense in this division. And a big part of it comes with their front line. When you invest, what the New York Giants have invested in their front line, but they have all these first-round picks that are coming. I mean, we can talk about Brian Burns. We can talk about Kayvon Thibodeau. You got Abdul Carter. You have Arvell Reese. I mean, they are really committed to being dominant in terms of their pass rush, being effective at the point of attack, being able to create the chaos with the disruptive schemes that Denard Wilson, their new defense coordinator, wants to bring. they are going to be a handful. And I just think about their front seven. It reminds me of those Super Bowl teams that they had where they just brought waves of pass rushers at you, where that's where they're at. And we haven't even talked about what Edmonds is going to offer as a middle linebacker. To me, their personnel and their scheme is going to make it very difficult for people to move the football on them and score on them. That's why I have them ranked number one. Now, the Philadelphia Eagles, like, how can you doubt what Vic Fangio has been able to do? Here's what I'll say, though. Some of the talent that they've had when they've been superior, I don't think they still have those same advantages. Before, they used to throw waves of bodies at you and just wear you down. Yes, they have Jordan Davis. Yes, they have Jalen Carter. Jalen Carter might be the best defensive player in ball by the time we get to the end of the season. They have those guys. You have Zach Bond on the second level. They're trying to break in some young guys around it to make it happen. And then look in the secondary. Quinyon Mitchell, you have Cooper DeJean. Like, those guys are good. I just think they're a step behind what the New York Giants can do. But now, personnel is a big part of it. But I'll say this. If Vic Fangio is in his bag, this team can go right back to the top and be the number one team in the division on defense. Right now, I got them slotted at 2. Some of the personnel changes have made it where the Giants just have a better group than the Eagles, but the Eagles are right there neck and neck. Third, look, let's go to the Cowboys. And part of the defections we talked about with the Eagles has been some of their coaches. Christian Parker is now the defensive coordinator with the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys, sneaky talented on the front line. There was a lot of conversation about this defense when Michael Parsons left. But what the Cowboys have done is they've really accumulated some nice pieces at the front. Quinnen Williams was a big get a while ago. Didn't you think about Kenny Clark, getting Rashad Gary, being able to put all of that together? You like it. They have to get better at the second level. Demarion Overshawn is playing a big role in this defense because he needs to be the sideline disruptor that Michael Parsons was when he wasn't the pass rusher. They need Overshawn to play well. They also need Caleb Downs to show up and show out right away. If the young safety shows up, plays near the box, and is that difference maker, Cowboys defense has a chance. The Washington Commanders are fourth. Dan Quinn has tried. Like, he's bringing in all kinds of veterans. They get Odafe Owe to come over. They bring over Kaylavon Chasen. They bring over some other guys, Robinson and others, trying to jumpstart this unit. And it could work. It's veteran laden. They're trying to figure it out. Man, they just fall so far behind the rest of the division because when we talk about the premium players, the blue chip players, the other teams have multiple blue chip players along their front seven. I can't say that for the Commanders. That's why I rank them as the cellar dwellers when it comes to their defense. Let's go to the coaches, and this is a good one. Like the New York Giants, John Harbaugh, he has to go right to the front of the line, and he's won a Super Bowl. He's had consistent success throughout his years in Baltimore. He steps in as the new face of a blue blood franchise, the New York Giants, that have desperately needed an edge at the head coaching position. And let's go back to when the Giants have won. What's the common denominator? Discipline, structure, detail. Well, Bill Parcells brought that. Tom Coughlin brought that. John Harbaugh is going to bring that. And I think the optimism that you hear around the league about the Giants is because John Harbaugh is about his business when it comes to building a team, holding that team accountable, and making sure they play the right way. Well, the right way for the Giants is to embrace who they are. Big, physical, rugged, make everything a street fight in a phone booth. John Harbaugh doesn't run from that. He's going to embrace that, and that's why he's my top choice as a top coach. When we come to next, I'm going to go, look, the Philadelphia Eagles. And the reason why I'm going to go with the Eagles is, look, people can have their own conversations about Nick Sirianni and where he stacks. He's a Super Bowl winner. But what I do like is I like the coaches that he has with him. I got Sirianni. I have Vic Fangio. I have Sean Mannion, who's doing his first offensive coordinator job. But I just like the coaches around him. I'm going to give them that. They won a lot of games in Philadelphia, and people can talk about what it looks like. They can talk about some of the disappointments, but you can't deny the record that Nick Sirianni has put up, going to 2 Super Bowls, winning 1. I got him slotted second. And then third, like, I feel like the job that Brian Schottenheimer did last year was underrated. We're going to put him at third because of his ability to just kind of navigate everything that you have to navigate when you're the leader of the Dallas Cowboys. Not only the big presence and the owner, Jerry Jones, not only in dealing with the different personnel battles that you have to get the roster the way that you want it, but the expectations. this team is always expected to keep at a high level, whether it's real or not. That is a lot of pressure on the first-time head coach. I thought he handled it well. And what I loved how he got that offense up and going. If you're an offensive play caller, if that is your superpower to call plays, you better be able to dazzle. And man, he was spectacular last year. I think he gets even better knowing the personnel in his second season as the leader of the team. I like that, and I think he made the right move on defense. That's why he's third. The Commanders love everything that Dan Quinn stands for in terms of like building a team, his positive energy, the way that he handles tough situations. I just Bleav he's in a tough spot. Like they're just in a tough spot. I just think they are behind their others. And it's crazy to say that, like, how are they so far behind the others when this is a team that was right there? They just went to the championship game 2 years ago with the quarterback. I just look at their roster and it just doesn't stack up to the rest of them. Now, he can coach his way out of it. He's going to be more of a CEO coach this year as opposed to being the head coach and the defense coordinator. But man, can he get them back on track? A lot of pressure on him. He is on the hot seat. We'll see how he fares. But right now, I got him ranked 4th going into the year. So there you have it. You look at this, and I'm looking at the way it stacks up. Man, to me, this is like a 2-team race. It's between the Cowboys and the Philadelphia Eagles. You look at where the Eagles are superior. We see there at running back. But man, I look at the Cowboys. Quarterback, pass catcher, offensive line, they dominate. If they win, it's going to be because their offense. I know we talk about defense winning championships, but to win the NFC East, it comes through that offense. That's why if I was going to lay a little wager, I'm going to take those FanDuel Sportsbook odds, and I'm going to lay it down on the Dallas Cowboys to win the division. But that's my thoughts. What are your thoughts? Come back at me. I am not afraid of the comments. Make sure you drop comments. Make sure you check out all the cool things that we're doing. Check out the channel on YouTube. Make sure you check out all the cool things that we're doing at Bleav. Subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend to tell a friend. The cool things that we're doing on the Bucky Brooks Show. This has been a lot of fun. I love doing this series. Can't wait to see which division we tackle next. But give me your commentary. Until next time, I'm Bucky Brooks, and I'm out.